Welcome! Today we're taking a different kind of journey. Not to tourist hotspots, but to cities left behind after hosting the Olympics. We'll look at what happens when the athletes leave, the cameras turn off, and the bills come due. This is about the real price of a 2-week global spotlight. Forget the glossy brochures. Let's explore the abandoned stadiums and neighborhoods forever changed by fleeting Olympic glory. We're diving into the true legacy of the Games, beyond the medal counts. Let's start at the very birthplace of the Olympics. Athens, 2004. The Olympics returned home, and Greece spent nearly €9 billion to make it unforgettable. New venues, a new airport, a new metro. Athens got a facelift for the world. For 2 weeks, it was magical. Then, the party ended. The guests left, and Athens was stuck with empty, expensive buildings. Imagine waking up after a wild party to find your house trashed and your wallet empty, except your souvenirs are massive, unused stadiums. The problem? No plan for what came next. Specialized venues like the canoe slalom course and the softball stadium had no real use for locals. These symbols of national pride quickly decayed. Pools turned green, weeds overtook stands, and the paint peeled. Today, you can visit the Acropolis, a ruin of ancient glory, and the 2004 Olympic Village, a modern ruin of broken promises. That €9 billion price tag, it fueled Greece's debt crisis. The Olympics didn't cause it alone, but they made things worse. The promised economic boom never arrived. Instead, the city was left with debt and resentment. Money that could have gone to schools or hospitals was spent on ghost stadiums. The facilities meant as a legacy became symbols of waste. For travelers, Athens is still vibrant, but the scars of 2004 are everywhere. Abandoned venues, missed opportunities, and a city still paying the price. The beach volleyball stadium sits unused on prime coastline, fenced off and forgotten. The Olympics didn't create a new tourism model. People still come for the Parthenon, not the relics of 2004. Athens did gain some lasting infrastructure like the metro, but the debt and decay linger. The city's modern identity is shaped by both ancient wonders and Olympic missteps. The lesson? Hosting the Games without a long-term plan can leave a city with a lasting hangover. Athens is a cautionary tale for any city dreaming of Olympic glory. The spirit of the Games was lost in the rush to build big for a fleeting moment. The result, a legacy of ambition, consequence, and overgrown weeds. The ultimate Olympic hangover, one that's lasted nearly 2 decades. And Athens isn't alone. Rio de Janeiro, 2016, the first Olympics in South America. Samba, sunshine, and spectacle. Rio spent about $13 billion, promising urban renewal and a lasting legacy. New bus lines, a subway extension, and the massive Olympic Park transformed the city, briefly. But when the Games ended, the legacy unraveled. The Diodoro Olympic Park, built for BMX and canoeing, closed just 6 months later, too expensive to run. The main Olympic Park's arenas fell silent. The handball arena, meant to become schools, still sits empty. The aquatic center where Michael Phelps made history, drained and abandoned. These billion-dollar venues became reminders of broken promises. Rio was already in financial crisis. The Olympics pushed it over the edge. The state had to declare a public calamity just to pay for police and hospitals. The city borrowed money to throw a party it couldn't afford. After the Games, Rio's image shifted from vibrant to troubled. Rising crime, crumbling infrastructure, and corruption scandals. Thousands of families were displaced, especially in the favelas, to make way for Olympic projects. Communities like Villa Autodromo were bulldozed. Their residents promised better housing that rarely materialized. The social cost was immense, lives uprooted for a 2-week event. Today, Rio is still beautiful, but the Olympic Park is a strange, empty tourist attraction. A symbol of disconnect between Olympic dreams and reality. The new subway line mostly serves wealthy areas, not the neighborhoods that need it most. The benefits weren't shared equally. The hangover was left for Rio's most vulnerable. The true legacy? Some infrastructure upgrades, but deeper debt and social divisions. Rio's story is a warning. Prestige projects can't fix deep-rooted problems. The confetti fades, but the problems remain. For travelers, understanding Rio's Olympic story reveals the city's complex, beautiful, and troubled soul. Montreal, 1976. The original Olympic cautionary tale. The city dreamed big, building the iconic Big O Stadium with its massive tower and retractable roof. The initial budget, $310 million. Final cost, over $1.5 billion. Construction was plagued by strikes and delays. The stadium wasn't even finished for the Games. Montreal was left with a mountain of debt. paid off over 30 years through a special tobacco tax. The Big O became the Big O. The debt choked public finances, slowing the city's growth and shifting Canada's economic center to Toronto. The stadium itself was a white elephant, too big, expensive to maintain, and awkward for baseball. The retractable roof was a technical nightmare. For years, Montreal was the poster child for Olympic disaster. Don't pull a Montreal. But over time, the narrative shifted. The Olympic Park with the Biodome and planetarium became a cultural hub. The Olympic Village was converted into apartments. The expanded metro is still vital. Unlike Athens or Rio, most Montreal venues eventually found a purpose. The city adapted, repurposed, and made the best of a bad situation. The Big O is still controversial, but it's part of Montreal's identity. It hosts trade shows, concerts, and more, a strange architectural lemonade from Olympic lemons. Montreal's legacy is about long-term thinking and resilience. The story isn't just about the years after the games, but the decades that follow. Montreal made a huge financial mistake, but survived, paid off the debt, and found new uses for its Olympic past. Beijing 2008, China's global coming out party. The goal, the most spectacular, flawless Olympics ever. Money was no object. The opening ceremony stunned the world. The bird's nest and water cube became instant icons. The city was transformed, old neighborhoods raised, new subways built, and the sky temporarily blue thanks to drastic pollution controls. The official price tag, $44 billion, but the real cost was much higher. Over 1.5 million people were displaced for Olympic construction. Historic hutongs were bulldozed. For travelers, Beijing's wide boulevards and modern architecture are impressive, but they came at the cost of erased history and culture. The environmental Olympic blue was a temporary fix. Pollution returned after the games. The construction boom may have worsened long-term environmental issues. After the games, China was determined not to let venues decay. The water cube became a popular indoor water park, a rare repurposing success. The bird's nest, however, is mostly a tourist attraction, too big for regular use, expensive to maintain, a monument to 2008. The games brought national pride but also a crackdown on dissent. Hopes for greater openness never materialized. For visitors, Beijing is a city of contrasts, ancient and modern, pride and loss. The 2008 Olympics show what's possible with unlimited resources and control, but also the hidden costs, lost homes, erased history, and silenced voices. It's a powerful, unsettling legacy. Sarajevo, 1984. Winter Olympics in a socialist country, a moment of unity and pride. The games were a huge success, showcasing the city and its mountains. But less than a decade later, war shattered everything. Sarajevo became a war zone. Olympic venues turned into battlefields. The bobsled track was used for artillery, its walls pockmarked by bullets. The ski jumps became front lines. The Zetra ice rink was destroyed and its basement used as a morgue. The places of joy became places of sorrow. After the war, the venues were left scarred and abandoned. The bobsled track is now covered in graffiti. The ski jumps stand as skeletal ghosts. For travelers, these sites are haunting and powerful. Not about financial waste, but human tragedy. Walking the bobsled track, you see Olympic rings and bullet holes, a place representing both the best and worst of humanity. Yet Sarajevo rebuilt. The Zetra Hall was reconstructed and is used again for sports and concerts. The abandoned venues are now dark tourism sites, vital to the city's story, a memorial, a warning, and a testament to survival. Sarajevo's Olympic legacy is unique, a dream realized, then violently stolen, and a city that endured the unthinkable. From Athens to Sarajevo, the Olympic legacy is never simple. It's a story of pride, debt, transformation, and tragedy, woven into each city's identity. For travelers, understanding this adds depth to every visit. The real story is in the abandoned spaces and repurposed buildings, long after the world stops watching. The impact of global events is felt most deeply at the local level. If you enjoyed this journey, please subscribe for more travel insights. Thanks for joining me. May you travel thoughtfully and see beyond the surface. See you on the next adventure.